Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online series 11 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a really strong team that won a regional championship in Taiwan pretty recently, featuring Eternatus, as well as Offensive Life Orb, Hyper Beam, Regieleki, Helping Hand, Dusclops, Lumberry, Glastrier, Araquanid, and more. So we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. Details for the team are in the description below. Before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by the Ridge. The Ridge makes some really awesome lifestyle products, and their most popular one is the Ridge Wallet, which you can see right here. It's a super simple and minimalistic wallet. You're able to fit up to 12 cards between these two metallic plates, and there's a band or strap for cash here in the back. It's super easy to use. You slide out your cards using this little indent here on the side, pull out whatever you need, and slide back as such. I've been using the Ridge Wallet for about a year and a half at this point, and I absolutely love it. There are over 40,000 5-star reviews for the wallet alone. Please do note that the largest card it can fit is basically your standard credit card, so it won't be able to fit anything larger than that, like a business card, for example. So currently I'm on their website at ridge.com/VGC. By the way, you can use code VGC for 15% off your next order. Normally it's 10%, but with the holiday season coming around, this is the perfect time to get one with a larger discount. So this is my personal favorite one. It's the carbon fiber one, but it comes in all kinds of different materials and designs, as you can see. There's also free shipping and free returns within 45 days. You can always get one, try it out, and if you don't like it, send it back to them and get their money back, or get your money back. I also love a lot of the Ridge's other products, and I always talk about their backpacks because I use them personally to commute to work. So I've linked my favorite products from them down in the description below, and yeah, let's get started. All right, first match of the day, and we're up against Xerneas. Okay. Xerneas, Volcarona, Zapdos, Umbreon, Rillaboom, and Arcanine. So Xerneas could be a max option, so can Volk, so can Zapdos, and Rillaboom and Arcanine to an extent, but a little bit less. Xerneas in general, I think, is just really intriguing here. It's not exactly the most common Pokemon in Series 11, but this is a really cool team. If you're my opponent, you can lead, like, Volcarona Xerneas or Incin Xerneas. You know what's interesting? Because we have Haze on Dusclops, like, Dusclops plus Liepard, because I could Helping Hand Max Lightning potentially if they lead, like, Rillaboom plus Xerneas. I definitely want to Eternatus in the back, and then for the last one, well, Araquanid's not terrible here into Arcanine. Glashier's good into Zapdos. Incin has Intimidate, which would be mainly valuable into Rillaboom and Arcanine to an extent. I also can Snarl and I have AB with this. Honestly, I kind of like Araquanid here because I think Volcarona could be kind of annoying as well as Arcanine. So it's like, if they bring either of the fire types, well, Araquanid in itself just has a really good matchup against both. So, yeah. Glastrier is not a bad max option here, but I think the main thing is that they obviously have two fire types. I guess one thing that's interesting is, like, because we have the Araquanid, if that scares away the fire types, then we could just bring in the Glastrier. So, yeah, well, I'm not sure. Either way, though, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And thanks to the Ridge once again for sponsoring today's video. So, let's see what they're going to go with here. Xerneas in itself is really interesting. It is going to be Rillaboom plus Xerneas. So, I do think I want to just go for Helping Hand Max Lightning turn 1 onto the Xerneas slot. Just really don't think they have great counterplay to that. Unless, I mean, Rillaboom could go for like a max and then go for G-Max Drum Solo. Power and Miracle Seed. Okay. Yeah, that works for me. They don't have any switch-ins, and by doing this, we also change the terrain, so I think I'm down to just go for it here. Even if Xerneas protects, it's okay. And then I guess the worst case is if Rillaboom here has like a high horsepower, and then they max the Rillaboom to max Quake into Xerneas. That'd actually be, or max Quake into Liepard. That'd actually be a really good play for them here. Now, Eternatus is pretty good against both of these Pokemon as well, so that's good. Okay, so they're not going to Dynamax. That's already a good start. If Rillaboom goes for Fake Out here, they're in a lot of trouble. Okay, nice Protect. They do go for the Protect there. Good play. I'm still okay with this, though, because I still changed the terrain. They didn't go for Grassy Glide or Fake Out, so yeah, they definitely expected this play this turn, so well done. But I still don't mind it, right? Because it's like, if Xerneas doesn't Protect, well, we just get rid of the Restricted immediately, and even if it does Protect, I still change the terrain and put you in a pretty awkward spot going into this next turn. Cool. I'm just going to go for Knockoff. Yeah, that's fine with me. Okay. This next turn is interesting, right? Because it's like, do you switch out the Xerneas? Max Lightning's a pretty free knockout onto that. I could just go for Helping Hand and like Max Strike into the Rillaboom slot. Max Lightning actually do more because of Electric Terrain and Transistor. Max Lightning would also cover for a switch out option. I think I'm down to just target the Xerneas slot here. Let's see, I've got Araquanid, Eternatus in the back. You know what? I'm actually going to target Rillaboom here. Yeah, they switched Xerneas out. That's what I was thinking. Into Arcanine. Okay, works for me. This was like a little bit risky because like theoretically Xerneas could have actually clicked Geomancy there and that could have been pretty scary. I also went for Lightning just because it would cover for a switch out option and I actually could see my opponent like double switching here. They're not Assault Vested, so I honestly think this might KO. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I mean, this is us once again just taking advantage of the fact my opponent doesn't have a, like really great resistances to electric type Pokemon, right? So they're going to bring their last Pokemon out and that's going to be Umbreon. Okay, works for me. Can't really Snarl against us, so that's good. I've still got this Eternatus in the back as well as Araquanid. That's also good. Maybe Arcanine Snarls here. My main question is who has Protect here? Also, who would I rather get rid of from these two? Probably Arcanine? Umbreon is kind of a nuisance. At best, it can Snarl and it's bulky. At this point, also, like, who do you Dynamax? I would feel like it's Arcanine, honestly. I'm just going to Helping Hand Lightning Arcanine. I could see Arcanine going for, like, a Max and then Max Guarding here, because at this point, you don't really have great Max options, but they're continuing not to Max, which is interesting. Okay. They just go for Extreme Speed. That's okay. Okay, we'll get the KO here with Lightning, I assume. Yeah, this is just pure Regieleki domination. So it's like, even though they made a pretty good play turn one, like, might have been better off for them to just max the Rillaboom. And they're going to go for Snarl. Dusclops dodges it, is going to hit Lecky, but that's fine. Like, at this point, you really can't do much, right? Because it's like, your best max option is probably the Xerneas at this point. But if you max Xerneas, like, you can't Geomancy, and that's really awkward, right? So what I can do here is just Helping Hand and Rising Voltage into Xerneas. Xerneas probably protects, but I don't even really mind that. I guess I could also Volt Switch Umbreon and Trick Room, but I'm very okay going for Helping Hand and Rising Voltage here. Because at this point, Umbreon's never going to win the game for my opponent, and as long as I deny Geomancy, I should win the match. So it's like, if you end up maxing the Xerneas, well, I can just bring out Eternatus and click Sludge Bomb into you, right? I guess one interesting thing is you could consider maxing the Umbreon here. But if you max Umbreon and protect Xerneas and go for like Max Darkness to KO something, I just bring in Eternatus and then Sludge Bomb for a free knockout. So, I think the awkward thing about my opponent's team is they don't really have that many good Dynamax options. Yeah, it feels more like a Series 10 team than a Series 11 team. So, Xerneas does go for the obvious protect, but once again, I don't mind like attacking into it because like Umbreon at best right now is going to click Snarl, right? I don't really think that's that scary. Or Foul Play, that also works. I don't think that should KO us though. Nice. Cool. So we have one turn of Electric Terrain left. We're at -1 special attack, but pretty sure Helping Hand into Rising Voltage should get the knockout unless they max Xerneas, but if Xerneas maxes, well, then Eternatus can just finish it off with the Sludge Bomb. And they continue not to Dynamax. Interesting. I guess they're going all in here on like, oh, they actually went for Protect. Okay, that makes sense actually. Because if you get the double Protect off, you get the knockout. Yeah. But I just really think my opponent's team didn't really have too many options to max, and I think they probably needed to like just try to max Xerneas in this game. I don't think you can really do much with max Umbreon. Arcanine also could have been a decent max option just because like it allows you to survive attacks a little bit better, but this is one in which my opponent just had no answers into a Lecky, right? Like no resistances or immunities, which makes it so hard for them. So you can just bring out the Eternatus now. And Umbreon is a tough Pokemon to go up against, but it's not one that can end up closing out games by itself, so, yeah. They really didn't have a single electric resist other than Rillaboom, and you can see, like, as soon as we know that they're not Assault Vested on the Rillaboom, that's not really even an electric resist, because Max Lightning in terrain with Helping Hand was able to just one-shot, so this game was really one-off us having Helping Hand because it just guaranteed all these knockouts. The one turn that was a little bit risky on my end was when I predicted Xerneas to switch out there, so I'm not sure if I love that play. I think it may have been better just to target the Xerneas slot there. And I think that was actually a missed opportunity by my opponent to Dynamax or Gigantamax the Rillaboom in that spot. So I'm glad they didn't go for it. But yeah, they just like didn't even max at all in that game, right? Because they never really had a good spot to after the first 2 turns. So this is an example where sometimes you can just make the safe plays. Like I attacked into a Xerneas Protect twice, but the reality is that like we didn't really need to make any advanced predictions there, just because like even if they Protect, it's totally okay because the partner Pokemon didn't really put on that much pressure. I will say the one scary thing is we saw that it was Miracle Seed on Rillaboom, so I was kind of nervous about it going for a Gigantamax on turn 1. That actually would have been a really, really good play, and I think in a best of 3, that's an adjustment you could very easily make even if we go with the same leads. Because the leads look good for us, right? But like turn 1 can play out completely differently if you just end up maxing the Rillaboom. So yeah. Let's just get into this next one. What do we got here? But yeah, like at the end of the day, this is one in which like Aleki is just so dominant when they don't really have any resistances. And interestingly enough, they don't have any resistances here, but the question is like, it's hard Trick Room, and just like the Copycat Riolu we just used, there's Copycat here with the Liepard, so you could go Liepard and Hatterene and just go for Copycat into Max Guard. So I could use Dusclops to reverse a potential Trick Room. That creates some mind games. We've got Instant with Snarl. Got Glastrier. Got Araquanid. This is not a good matchup for Eternatus generally because of Indeedee, Calyrex, and Hatterene. If I'm my opponent, I would bring Torkoal for sure. They have 3 Trick Room users, which makes this a little bit awkward. Dusclops can help me reverse Trick Rooms. I think we drop Aleki here, even though they don't have any resistances. Like, Aleki's just really bad in a Trick Room, right? Araquanid's like somewhat intriguing to me because it walls Calyrex decently well. Okay, I'm actually thinking Incin, Glastrier, Eternatus, Dusclops. The other consideration was leading Dusclops to reverse potential Trick Rooms on turn 1, but it's a little bit passive on my end, I think. The other interesting thing is if I lead Incin, you can't necessarily even just go for Copycat, right? Because I can just click Fake Out into Liepard, so I guess Liepard would need to retaliate with the Fake Out of its own. It is going to be Liepard and Hat. Okay. That works for me. I mean, Snarl's pretty good in this spot. I guess the one thing I don't want to watch out for is activating a potential weakness policy. I also have to worry about like fake tears from Liepard into like a max move on a Glastrier immediately. I think it would be kind of a waste if they ended up just maxing turn 1 here. I also don't want to knock out Liepard right now, I think. Well, like, do you just go for Fake Out Trick Room? I don't have max Steel Spike, but they don't know that. I could also just, like, Fake Out Max Quake turn 1 into Liepard. I'm honestly not completely opposed to that. Like, the one downside is it would give my opponent a free switch into Torkoal. But yeah, I think I'm okay with this. Oh, that's okay. Into Indeedee. No, they go into Stack. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what Hatterene goes for here. If it ends up being like a Protect, I would be surprised if we even had it. But this is already a pretty good turn because I just eliminate Stakataka immediately. The only downside is it gives my opponent a free switch into Torkoal, assuming that's their 4th. Although it means if you brought Torkoal, it means you did bring Calyrex, which would actually be really surprising. So maybe they didn't bring Torkoal. I don't know. Okay, they max Hat. That's actually a really good outcome for us because it means you don't get Trick Room up turn 1. So yeah, this is really good. Yeah, I'm very happy about this. Although if I had Parting Shot here, I could have just Parting Shot into Hatterene. So this is kind of risky on there, and they didn't really cover for that option, and then it would just eject it out thanks to Magic Bounce. Okay, so that breaks a potential Sash on Stack. I don't think it's Sashed, but it's fine. The most important thing here is with Max Quake, I get a special defense boost, which is so nice with both of my Pokemon right now. Especially because we have this Assault Vest on the Incineroar already, so you do even less damage to it. So, this is a good start. And it also means they don't get Trick Room up on turn 1. So I'm mainly curious what they have in the back. But it's like now, even if you have Torkoal in the back, I'm not that scared. I guess the only scary thing here is, like, they're going to go for Smite, I assume, and now we're going to be confused, so I have to attack through Confusion, which I don't absolutely love. But, yeah, I mean, Calyrex takes that like an absolute champion, so we're in really good shape now. And the odds of both Pokemon hitting themselves in Confusion on the same turn. Oh, actually, I totally forgot about Lumberry. It's even nicer here. One is primarily for things like Will-O-Wisp, but yeah, it's super good for us here. Let's bring Liepard back in. Okay. Liepard, I am just going to click Snarl here. And then I think just Hailstorm, because that guarantees the KO onto Liepard. Actually, I don't know. Do I want to Snarl here? Because we should assume their last one is Calyrex, right? Like, what you could do right now if you're my opponent is go for the copycat play. They could also fake Tears my Calyrex here. Or my Glastrier. I do want to be a little bit careful here because I don't actually think I want to pick up a knockout right now. It might have been better to Max Quake and Hatterene here, because I would go for Copycat here if I were them. Yeah, that's what they're going for. I mean, this is generally okay, because I'll get another knockout and another special defense boost on Incineroar, and, like, their last one being Glastrier isn't that scary to me, but what'll be interesting here is if Liepard is, like, Focus Sashed. It is sashed. So if Instant actually hits itself in Confusion here, it's not that bad. I would have maybe preferred U-turning there, because then I could just bring the Instant back in for an Intimidate onto what's presumably Calyrex-I in the back. Okay, we do actually hit ourselves in Confusion, but it's like one of those scenarios where I actually think that's not too bad for us. Okay. +2 Spadef. Yeah, I mean, I'm down to just Snarl here and then just go for a Max Hailstorm onto Hatterene, I think. Curious what Liepard goes for here. But denying them, like, not giving them a free switching is actually pretty nice there. So, yeah. I think I like U-turn onto Liepard the most there because it's like if I hit myself in Confusion. Okay, yeah, they do have Fake Tears, but... Well, you probably have Max Flare as well, right? Nope, they're going for Smite. We should survive this thanks to all the special defense boosts we built up. Oh, interesting. They actually target Instant. Okay. I guess they were splitting their damage there, saying, okay, well, you might go for Max Guard there, so might as well get the Confusion guarantee, which actually does make a lot of sense here, I think. But we're going to attack their Confusion. I think that will almost all but seal it up here, even if we don't get the attack off with Instant. Because the thing is, now the Liepard's on a timer. You have Hail and Life Orb being up, so... I don't even know if Hatterene survives one more turn. If Vincent just attacks through Confusion here, like, yeah, Hatterene's fainting next turn, but we are going to hit ourselves in Confusion again. That's fine, though. We just built up such a big lead already. Now Dynamax is over. So, assuming their last one is going to be the Calyrex Ice Rider in the back, what we can do is... Oh, you know what's interesting? If you're my opponent, you can, like, get around fainting if you go for... Oh, it was Torkoal in the end. Okay. Well, it makes sense that they brought out Liepard first because they need to get Trick Room up. But now this puts Instant in a really good spot, right? It does change the weather, though, so it means maybe Hat survives another turn. So Dynamax ends on both ends. I'm confused with both Pokemon right now. That's the only scary thing. Hat will survive one more turn. I'm at +2 special defense, 3 turns of Trick Room. I honestly think I might be able to take an Eruption into a Dazzling Gleam here. With 3 turns of Trick Room, we just want to be a little bit careful here. I think what I like is switching Instant out into Dusclops. And then just protecting here. These Confusions have been a little bit scary. I feel like if we lose this, it's kind of unacceptable, honestly, because I really thought, like, we were in such a good spot after turn 1. Life Orb and Charcoal, cool. I mean, those are the most common items. Okay, nice. We won't hit ourselves in Confusion here. That in itself is already a really big deal because it denies them a potential, like, double KO this turn. I'm not even sure if Eruption into Dazzling Gleam would have picked up a double knockout, so let's see. Dusclops is just so bulky. Yeah, I was not going to pick up the knockout. The fact that it even do 50% is wild. So it felt a little bit bad to switch out Instant, but the idea there is that I get to recycle Fake Out, right? And Hatterene's going to faint from one more turn of attacking. So there's still 2 turns of Trick Room. I am gonna just go for Nightshade here onto Hat and then switch this out into Incineroar. Because the idea here is Hat faints from one more attack, right? And if it doesn't attack here, that's fine. Like, you're not gonna KO Incin with an Eruption, and I can just fake out to KO you next turn. And then Trick Room is slowly expiring too, right? So then we just have Glastrier Eternatus, double protect, and then just win the game after Trick Room's over. Okay. There's Eruption. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Hatterene's only way around this is to, like, go for a non-attacking move, right? And they actually recognize that. Okay, kudos. So they do go for the fake out there. Or sorry, the Trick Room to deny fainting. But I'm okay with that, right? Because it's like, what are you really going to do at this point? I have a free fake out and a free Sludge Bomb here. So it keeps them in the game for a little bit longer, but it doesn't really do very much. And in fact, now I just have the speed advantage with both Pokemon, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna Sludge Bomb the Hatterene and click Fake Out into Torkoal. Maybe Hat has Protect here, although I feel like if you had Protect, you would just go for that last turn rather than a Trick Room. So Torkoal's gonna Protect. Yep, that's fair. All we need to do in this position is make sure we don't Bro and double up onto a Torkoal slot, for example, right? If we actually double up into Torkoal, we could actually realistically lose the game, which is scary here. So yeah, you want to just make sure you don't make any big mistakes in this end game. But we're gonna get the knockout there. Perfect. Cool, cool. And now we can just Dynamax Cannon into Void Blitz. I mean, the key thing in this game was that my opponent ended up maxing the Hatterene on turn 1 rather than going for Trick Room, and they probably just didn't feel safe going for Trick Room immediately. They also could have just gone for Copycat plus Max Guard, but even if they had done that, we would have gotten a special defense boost off with Incin, and then, so my plan was, okay, even if they go for Copycat into Trick Room, they'll waste a turn of their Dynamax already, then the second turn they brought Torkoal, I'll just Max Guard Glastrier and then just click Snarl with Incin, and then they're at -1 with both Pokemon, assuming we attack through Confusion, and we have a special defense boost on both Pokemon, which puts us in a pretty good spot. So, yeah, that was kind of the game plan there. But, yeah, fun match, and let's look for one more. Last one of the day, and is this the same? It's almost the same team we ran into yesterday, right? That one I think was just all legendaries. And in that one, I was like nervous about leading Incin plus Dusclops because of Defiant Thundurus. Plus, I wanted Regieleki to deal with Lapras. Wait, no, I'm thinking of a different game. Yesterday was just Zacian plus Thundurus. No supportive Thundurus. Huh. What's the scariest lead here? Like Whimsicott Landorus? This is a really scary matchup, I think, because it's like we could win really hard in Team Preview and we could also lose really hard in Team Preview. I think I'm honestly thinking of Dusclops plus Regieleki, Glastrier in the back. Do I really not bring Incin into this matchup against Zacian? It's the only questionable decision here. So Glastrier is so good offensively here. I guess I could drop a Regieleki and I could just go Incin Dusclops instead. My issue with that though is it's just really Lapras weak, and I think Lapras is a pretty rough matchup for us to begin with here. So I'm gonna try this out. I don't know if it's the right decision, but we'll see. I think the main thing here is that it's just really scary to see Lapras in Team Preview. And if they get screens up, I feel like the game is not completely lost, but it is very, very, it's very bad for us. We're gonna go Whimsicott Incin. I'm honestly okay with this because that's a relatively passive lead, all things considered. Could Dynamax Regieleki turn 1. Don't really think I want to do that though. Because the problem is if I Dynamax, it gives my opponent a free switch in, right? Sash, AV, or Goggles? Okay. I guess what's interesting is, do you taunt turn 1? Huh. Because the thing is, if you taunted, I actually could max here and max Lightning, or sorry, max Strike into Whimsicott and Nightshade. So then I guess the odds are, what are the chances Whimsicott clicks Tailwind turn 1? You could Tailwind if Incin also has Taunt here. I think I actually am going to go for the Dynamax here. I'm going to go for the Lightning. That sets up Electric Terrain. And then I'm also going to Nightshade Whimsicott here. Because I'm hoping right now my opponent's like, well, I don't want Trick Room to go up, so I'm going to try denying in turn 1. The problem is that Incin might be the one taunting rather than Whimsicott. Because what you can do here is Tailwind with Whimsicott and taunt with Incineroar, which would be a pretty interesting play. But the thing is, if they do that, that's pretty bad for us, right? Because then they'll just get a free switch it into whatever they want. Given that I doubled up onto Whimsicott. Sweet. Okay. This means no Tailwind goes up, and that's a really big deal in itself. Because now Aleki outspeeds my opponent's entire team. And I also set up the Electric Terrain, which means I do even more damage with Max Lightning. Maybe Incin goes for a Snarl here. That's fine. Okay. They just Parting Shot. That's okay. I mean, it's a good play, but the fact is that they can't get Tailwind up right now. So I'm curious, because then the question is, did you bring... You're obviously going to have Zacian in the back, so then it's like, did you bring Lapras as your final Pokemon? Because if so, that's amazing for Aleki. Zacian comes out, okay. So we'll get the knockout on a Whimsicott, and more importantly, deny them a Tailwind, which is huge. If they bring out their final Pokemon, and it's Landorus, right? Like, I would bring out Incin right now for my opponent, just so you could bluff having Landorus in the back. So that's the question, is Landorus their final Pokemon? I guess you actually could just bring Landorus out right now, too, right? Actually, wait, that makes a lot of sense. And then just protect the Zacian. But they bring in Insane, which really makes me think they don't have Landorus in the back. Okay, I can't go for Helping Hand right now, which is slightly unfortunate. I think I will just go for Max Lightning on a Zacian here and Nightshade into it. Like, maybe Instinct goes for Parting Shot as Zacian protects, but even if you do that, it's fine. I get some free damage through the Protect. This is where right now, if we had Incin as our last Pokemon, I think we'd be in better shape. But I felt compelled to bring Glastrier because it gave us a Trick Room route into... Oh, interesting. They don't Fake Out. They don't... Well, actually, I mean, there's no reason to Fake Out there. Dynamax Regieleki with this Max Lightning from Rising Voltage is just unbelievable. It is so good. And this is the thing, right? We were able to punish my opponent really heavily because they led Incineroar plus Whimsicott, which is a really passive lead. That lead does not put on any offensive pressure at all. At best, you have a little bit of pressure with Flare Blitz from Incineroar, but that's basically it. So, that made the game really hard for my opponent. And their last one is Lapras. Okay, beautiful. So, the cool thing about this team is in Team Preview, right, like, having Glastrier and a Araquanid might scare away the Landorus a little bit. Well, Araquanid not really, but yeah. Okay, so we're at -3 attack, -1 special attack. I've got Eternatus and Glastrier in the back. I don't mind just going for the knockout here onto Incineroar. I just don't think Lapras ever can win a 4v1 in this position. I actually should have Nightshaded Incin instead as well. In the off chance Max Lightning doesn't KO, but it should, right? Like, once again, it's Life Orb. The base 140 is so nice, right? Because it just gives you a little bit of extra burst and damage that sometimes your opponents aren't expecting. So, like I said, I was mainly nervous about Lapras getting screens up, but that was early on. Given that they've already lost so many resources, we're in a totally fine spot right now. Yeah, they go for Max Guard. Beautiful. The reason I wanted to target Incin here is just because I didn't think it would have Protect in this position, so might as well just get a guaranteed free knockout, right? It already revealed Darkest Lariat, Parting Shot. You normally want Fake Out, and then Flare Blitz, you know, makes clear sense as the 4th attack. So, might as well just take advantage of the fact that we have a free knockout in front of us. So, yeah, I mean, this was basically a perfect game with the lucky Dusclops. So, this lead is really interesting, right? Because it's like, my opponent feels compelled to deny me Trick Room because I've got Glastrier and Araquanid in the back. Now I can just Rising Voltage and Helping Hand. Beautiful. I wonder if this KOs. I feel like Lapras probably survives, but let's see. Electric Terrain is up. We are Life Orb. Oh. Regieleki literally... Oh, I didn't one-shot Whimsicott, but it almost did. It one-shot the Zacian. It KO'd Incineroar from the range that it was at, and then KO'd the Lapras here as well, so yeah. My opponent not bringing Landorus just made the match significantly more difficult for them, so yeah, this is the power of Dynamax Regieleki. It's something that, you know, we used a fair amount of in Series 8, and it's something like... I remember the first time I went up against Max Aleki, I was shocked. But yeah, it's a meta trend that I think is, you know, just been really interesting. And then, like, the cool thing with this team is that you have Rising Voltage rather than Thunderbolt, so you do a little bit more damage with Max Lightning. And then you also have Hyper Beam, so you can drop your opponent's speeds as well. So yeah, that was a really fun set of games, and I'm glad to really highlight how strong the combination of Dusclops and Regieleki can be. So thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.